So hello everyone and welcome to the Living in Residence webinar. My name is Darina. It's great to meet you. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Transition and Engagement Student Lead at the Student Experience Office this summer. I'm going to be going into my 5th year of the Concurrent Education Program at Queen's, and I'm going to be your host for this webinar. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and it will be available for viewing on the Student Experience Office's YouTube channel within a few business days. And before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the history of the land on which Queen's University is located. As Canadians, we have a collective responsibility to recognize the injustices committed against Indigenous peoples who have lived on and cared for this land long before the arrival of European settlers. Queen's campus, which is where I'm joining you from today, and which you can see in this picture here, is situated on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. The Kingston area, originally known as Cataraqui, has been home to Indigenous communities for thousands of years and remains a place of significance and ongoing relationship for many Indigenous peoples today. As a student, I am grateful for the opportunity to live, work, and study as an uninvited guest on this territory. It's important to understand that Queen's University, like many other institutions in Canada, was established through colonial systems that displaced Indigenous communities. As a settler and as a guest, I carry a responsibility to reflect on that history and to contribute to a more just, inclusive, and respectful future. If this information is new to you, or if you'd like to learn more, I encourage you to explore the resources offered by the Office of Indigenous Initiatives and the Four Directions Indigenous Student Center, both online and on campus here at Queen's. Thank you for taking this moment to reflect with me. And now I'm going to pass it on to our first speaker for today, who works in residence.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Parnbir Mundi. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the Director of Residence Life and Services. And I'm really excited to be talking to you about life in residence. And so wanted to start with a little bit of overview of residence. Many of you folks are probably familiar with this, but Queen's is a highly residential university with over 90% of first-year students choosing to live in residence. We have just over 4,700 beds across our 18 different buildings, which are all unique. Some are as old as 100 years old, and some are as new as a couple years old. And so we're really excited about welcoming you to our unique campus. We have two separate campuses that are quite close together. And so we've got many students living on our West Campus, and then as well as on our main campus. We'll talk a lot about the supports that are available for students and residents that are across not only our dining services, but also our student leaders. And so I'm going to go into a little bit of that tonight with my colleague here, Teresa, who will talk a little bit later. I want to get us started about sort of the goals of living in residence and sort of the core pillars of residence life. And so for us, ultimately, we recognize that living in residence is a huge step of being part of the Queen's community. You have the opportunity to make lifelong connections, overcome challenges, and work towards your goals. And our job with you is to create an environment that fosters a sense of belonging, where we encourage you to find community, not only at Queen's, but broadly in Kingston. We want to help you build resilience, so the ability to problem solve, think critically, accept responsibility for your actions, and learn to ask for help and learn how to become an independent person. And ultimately, all of this is to help support your academic success. We recognize that folks come in with different goals, and we want to help support you to achieve those goals that contribute to your overall academic efforts. And so these three pillars center our residence life program. That's what our goals come back to. That's what our values come back to. And that is how we help folks navigate this transitional year as they enter Queen's. Residence itself is a high density community living environment. Your community is home to individuals from many different backgrounds, racial, ethnic, gender identities, and religious beliefs. And in residence, we're committed to fostering communities where equity, diversity, inclusion, and indigeneity are embraced and celebrated. And we expect you to be open to learning and respecting each other and embracing differences. And we really believe that the diversity of our backgrounds and those experiences build a stronger and richer environment for all of us. High density living also means uniquely being aware of yourself in a new way. You're probably used to a very different living environment. And so we recognize that that takes effort to get to know the environment here. And so we've got some expectations and supports to help you get there. And so tonight we'll go over a little bit of those. When we think about the resources that are available, there are supports and services and residents that are available 24/7 each day. There are campus and community resources, as well as mental health therapists that are embedded in residence. We want to support you throughout your journey. And so we have staff that are on call, and we'll talk a little bit more about the different types of staff that are available to help support you. You'll see on your screen that there's a QR code that links to a page about some of these resources. So I encourage you, if you have a smartphone handy, to scan that QR code to learn a little bit more about those individual resources. We work closely with a number of campus partners to cater towards our resident students to make sure that they are supported in an individual way. But ultimately, with all of these resources, we really do need folks to self-advocate. We want you to have the ability to be able to help yourself navigate this challenging new environment, your academic responsibilities, and social challenges. As we, think about independent living, there's a lot of individual responsibility that falls on you. We don't know what you need unless you ask for it. And so there's many supports here that want to listen, but we need you to reach out. And so some of those individuals are some professional staff that we have. So we have residence life coordinators. And so each of your building areas, there's a full-time live-in professional staff member who's responsible for establishing that cohesive environment for them. They support the residents community, and they're a person you'll see throughout your time, whether that's through educational programming, working with their student staff team, responding to incidents in residence, or navigating student conduct. Your residence life coordinator is available to discuss any questions regarding your community or any concerns that you have throughout the academic year. A little bit more close to home, you'll have your residence dons. Residence dons are student staff who are trained by us to support you to create an environment that's engaging and safe. Dons are knowledgeable about campus resources and are there to help you navigate conflict, peer counseling, community development, and leadership. Residence dons live on your floors, but there's always a residence don that's on call nightly between 8 p.m. And 7 p.m. We also have embedded mental health therapists that are available to help you with the unique challenges of living in residence. And so if that's a support that you need, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few slides. And then we have our front desk. Our front desk is open on campus 24/7. There's always a desk that's open, so there's always a phone number where you can reach someone should you need some support. So I'd like to talk a little bit more about residence dons. At different institutions, they're called different things, whether they're community advisors, residence assistants, but essentially they are upper year students who are there to build meaningful connection that contribute to the overall safety and security of our buildings. And they're sort of our first line for supporting and implementing the residence life program. They do a lot of things. So there's some that are listed on the screen in front of you. And so they're really your first point of contact and they'll help get you to the right person. They're there to build rapport. They're there to organize socials. They host office hours. And then they are a role model for you to help learn about the Queen's community. You'll also have a monthly community meeting where you'll get to engage with your Don in a number of ways, and they work together as a team to help support students living in residence. Our residents' mental health therapists are here to support you with one-on-one appointments, and they do this both in person and virtually. And while they can't offer ongoing therapy, they're there to support folks in that short-term support. And so we really encourage folks, if you're struggling, to reach out to them. Our mental health therapists are dedicated to students and residents, and so often the wait times are much lower than other services in the community. And so please don't hesitate to reach out to them and book with them directly. Knowing what residence is like is also a unique environment. And so a document that helps us all have a shared understanding of the expectations is a residence contract. The residence contract is something that you should review, and it's something that you're required to sign before you're able to enter residence. And so there are key expectations that we have of you and that you should have of us throughout the process. And so I'll talk a little bit about them tonight, but I encourage you to review the document in detail about the expectations of living in residence. And like all of the things that we do, it's aligned with our learning goals. And so we really hold the contract to make sure that folks can feel that sense of belonging. And so the residence contract has rules and regulations to help students feel safe in their communities. It helps you understand the community impact of your individual actions. It also helps build that shared responsibility for the community. It's also about building resilience. And so this is, residence is a new environment where you'll be trying new things and navigating your own boundaries, and really about taking accountability and ownership about what the expectations look like. And so there is a residence conduct process that I'll talk a little bit more about that helps you understand how you are a part of that. It really does help you learn from mistakes and really focuses on education and repairing harm to re-engage with your community. And ultimately, the rules that are in place, whether those are the quiet hours, prohibited items, what sort of conduct is allowed and isn't allowed in residence, is ultimately there to support folks' academic success. And so upholding those expectations is a shared responsibility that we all have to ensuring everyone's academic success. Our expectations really can be summed down into having respect for people, so having respect for each other, having respect for the place that you will call your new home, and then the property that is the physical spaces that we live in. And the residence contract outlines those very specifically. I'd like to draw your attention specifically to Section 410, which is the residence community standards that you should review before coming into residence, as they are quite explicit about what is and isn't allowed. And so please make sure you have the opportunity to review that. And if there are, if your behavior does not align with those expectations, there is a residence conduct process that's also allowed. And so if there are incidents that happen in residence, whether it's our residence dons, campus security, they will document where they believe a potential violation has happened. They'll have a conversation with you and documentation will be reviewed. And the incident report is submitted to residence life staff, who will review and meet with students involved to determine what happened. We'll work with students to resolve the incident, and that looks like a number of different things, and that's sort of outlined in the residence contract itself. So please make sure that you review that. And so our front desk services is also something about living in residence. And so this is the place you'll go to if you've lost your keys, if you've got a question, if you got mail. We have 4 different front desks that serve unique purposes. So we've got a mail depot on campus and then 3 front desks to service you and the questions that you have. Each of these desks has their own phone numbers, so you're able to reach them or physically walk in person to be able to speak to somebody. And while they will do their best to solve your issues with keys and facilities issues, they might direct you to another service on campus if you've lost your student card, for example, but they are a great first point of contact for your life in residence. Laundry. It's funny enough, living in residence might be the first time you might be doing your own laundry. And so each of our buildings holds different laundry rooms. They are different depending on the building. So some floors have their own laundry rooms, some have central laundry machines, and all of our machines are front loading. And so they require high efficiency laundry detergent. That's typically what you can buy nowadays, but you got to look for that HE logo. Look at your building page and that'll tell you where your laundry rooms are located. And the cost of each of those is about $225 a wash and $225 a dry. And you'll be using a Coinomatic app. And so that's the vendor that we use. And this sounds silly, but please don't overload the machines. It's not good for your clothes to get clean and it's not good for the machines themselves. And so the machines, there's a direct line to be able to tell Coinomatic if you have any issues. If you're a supporter and you're wondering, with all of this information, how do I best support my student? I encourage you to join us and scan the QR code and get the Residence Connection. This newsletter keeps you updated on all the services, events, and experiences that are happening on a monthly basis for students. And it's important to recognize that, there's a lot going on for your student. And so this is a great way for you to feel connected with what's happening in their community. And so I encourage you, if you haven't, please sign up. Our first issue goes out in August, and we want to make sure that you're able to get all that important information that we're sending to your students. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Teresa to talk about dining and food at Queen's.
Great. Thanks, Barb. So my name is Teresa Couto, and I use pronouns she, her. So I'm the registered dietitian and wellness and sustainability manager with Queen's Hospitality Services. So I'll be talking about all things meal plan and dietary needs. So the residence meal plan is mandatory for students living in residence, and it's included in your residence fees. And so there is just one plan for all students in residence, and it's called the Weekly 19. So with the Weekly 19, you have 19 meals per week that you can use in 3 all-you-care-to-eat dining halls. And I'll talk about each of the dining halls in a moment. And so when you tap or swipe to get into the dining hall, there's a number of different food stations that are available to you for your different food preferences and dietary needs. Meals do reset every Monday at 12:01, so you want to try to best utilize those 19 meals each week. Um, Trade meals are another component to your meal plan. And so the short form is TAMS. So you have 175 opportunities where you can trade in a dining hall swipe for a fixed meal combo in our retail food outlet locations. And so these can be used in any of our Queen's unique proprietary locations, which I'll talk about in a moment. For optimal variety and value, we do encourage visiting the dining hall wherever possible, where you do get those all you care to eat meals. And in a day, you can use up to 3 dining hall swipes and 2 TAMs for a total of 19 meals per week as the allotment or the allowance. And then finally, we have Flex Dollars. Flex Dollars work like cash loaded onto your student card to purchase food or beverage in any of the locations across campus. And Flex Dollars do carry over whatever you don't use to the following year, and they can be topped up through the student residence and dining portal. And actually, lastly, is the Good to Go reusable container program, which I'll discuss shortly, where all students are automatically enrolled into this program. So a little bit more on the dining halls. So each of the 3 dining halls are shown here. So there's Leonard and Banri dining halls on our main campus and Jean Royce Dining Hall on our west campus. And each of them has unique offerings, and they operate on a 5-week menu cycle that is staggered. So there's always different options at each of the dining halls. And there's lots of variety to choose from where you can mix and match from different stations to suit your needs. In addition to your 19 meals per week, you do have 5 guest passes that you can utilize for a family member or a friend, where you can invite them to the dining hall to dine for just $5 for an all you care to eat meal. What's handy is you can preview the menus in advance for up to a week, so you can plan ahead on those busy days by visiting our Today's Menu page. Leonard and Jean Royce are open 7 days a week, and typically the hours are around 7:30 in the morning until 9 at night. And Banri Dining Hall is open between 11 and 7, Monday to Friday. So you can learn more about the hours of operation, but certainly there's opportunity that you can eat anywhere on campus. Between the hours of 7:30 in the morning, and then some retail locations are open until 1 a.m. Dining halls are dine-in only since they are an all-you-care-to-eat environment, with the exception of what we call express to-go meals. So you have 3 available meals that are available by request from the cashier that you can take to go from the dining hall. specifically. And so this helps to mimic the flexibility and convenience of a TAM while providing additional safety for those who maybe have dietary needs or simply want a healthy dining hall meal. Right, next slide. Okay, so here's a bit more on our retail locations. So we have numerous locations that are found all across campus. And so some are recognizable national brands that you see on the screen. And then we have many unique locations to Queens. So there's different types of cuisine across all of the locations. And a couple of the newest locations that are opening up in the John Deutsch University Center are Cow, which is an Asian fusion location where you can receive rice and noodle dishes and more, as well as we have Cloven Spice, which is a Mediterranean-inspired location where there's shawarmas, wraps, salads, and other options. So lots of variety to choose from. In these Queens unique locations is where you can use your TAMs. You'll see those identified on the menu boards, or you can also use Flex Dollars. And then the national brands, you can't use Flex or TAMs, sorry, at those locations, but you can use your Flex Dollars. If you simply wanted a tea from Tim Hortons, you could use your Flex Dollars to purchase that. And so with the TAMs, there are over 100 base combinations that are available to you, again, to add that flexibility and convenience. And then there is a mobile Transact app, which allows you to order food options in advance. So you can just go to the location and pick up for your convenience. So a bit more on the TAMs. So TAMs are not extra meals. They're deducted from your weekly 19 dining hall allowance. So they're a trade-in or meal equivalency option. You can use up to 2 in a day, as I mentioned before, to a maximum of 175. And again, redeemable in our Queens unique locations only. So franchises are excluded from the TAMs. You can visit our website page here to learn all about TAM inclusions. And then in these different Queens unique locations is where we use the Good to Go container, which I'll talk about a bit more. But by using this container, you do save 75 cents on packaging. And this is all to reduce the single-use packaging waste that we see quite frequently in our food locations. And more about hours of operation can be found there, where you can find a couple of the locations that are open late night if you're somebody who likes to stay up late studying. Okay, so we do support and take great care for students who have different dietary needs and food allergies. So this may include individuals with food allergies, intolerances, food-related medical conditions such as celiac, diets related to a religious or cultural observance, and vegetarian and vegan diets. This isn't an all-encompassing list, but if you have considerations that are unique to your dining experience at Queens, it's a good idea to fill out the food allergy and dietary need form, which is in the student dining portal. We do also encourage individuals to book a meeting with me, especially if you have food allergies or celiac. But anybody with dietary needs is encouraged to meet with me to make sure that you are informed when you're coming to campus about finding options for your needs, and so that you're also able to best utilize your meal plan. So the QR code on the screen will take you to our allergy and dietary needs page to learn more. And the icons at the bottom of the screen just show you an example of how you can find different menu items across residence dining halls, as well as some of these icons are used in our retail locations to assist those with different lifestyle needs to find options that will assist them. So a bit more on how we support those with allergies and dietary needs. So really important to make sure that you ask before you eat. So none of our facilities, unfortunately, are allergen-free facilities. We do take great caution and care in reducing risk as much as we can and training our staff as well. But it is super important that you are vocal about your dietary needs with our staff and ask to speak with a chef or manager to confirm ingredients and meal preparation. We do in our dining halls have menu boards that identify the Health Canada priority allergens. Dining halls also have a True Balance station on our main campus dining halls, and this station excludes 10 of the Health Canada priority allergens on a consistent basis. And the gluten-free friendly pantry is found in all three of our dining halls. And new this year, we do have key controlled access for the Leonard gluten-free friendly pantry, as well as the Jean Rice gluten-free friendly pantry. And so a lot of these supports, you'll notice the True Balance Station, gluten-free pantry, menu boards are all found in our dining halls. And it's for that reason that we do encourage students with dietary needs, and especially those with allergies and celiac, to visit our dining halls whenever possible, where we can better reduce risk of cross-contamination. Whereas in our TAM locations, for example, we can't guarantee that there's a chef available and there is higher risk of cross-contamination. So if you have yet to book a meeting with me, I do encourage you to do so before arriving on campus or as close to move-in as possible. And I am available throughout the year to offer support and guidance, so please don't hesitate to reach out to me by email, and we'll show our contact information in a moment. And lastly, I just wanted to touch a little bit more on the Good to Go reusable container initiative, just so you're aware of how it works. So each of you will receive a green carabiner when you move in, and that carabiner is what you'll use to go to our retail food locations and ask for your meal to be placed in a Good to Go reusable container. These containers are all public health approved through public health guidelines, and therefore they're washed through a commercial dishwashing system and are safe for those with dietary needs and, of course, the general public. And so you'll want to exchange that carabiner for a meal in a container. Once you've enjoyed your meal, you can return that container back to exchange for a carabiner to use later or to get a new meal in a fresh container. So you'll definitely want to participate in this program in support of the university's sustainability goals, but also to save the 75 cents on the single-use container fee. Okay, so now we'll pass it back to Darina to answer some Q&A questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Teresa and Parm, for those presentations. I hope that we all learned a little bit about residence, how things will work, and that we're feeling confident about it going in. It looks like we're a little bit tight on time, so I think we might only have time to answer 2 questions, but I'll try to choose questions that are being asked by lots of folks. So let me scroll in through here. Let's see. We also have lots of staff on the back end answering questions. So if you have a question, feel free to pop it into that Q&A box in the bottom right corner. There's also an anonymous feature if it makes you more comfortable, and someone will be in touch shortly to answer your question. The first question that I'm seeing a lot of is, what should I bring with me to residence when I move into my room? And Parm, I'll let you take that one away.
Yeah, I think this one's a very common one we get. I think what I would encourage folks to do is visit their building page to make sure that they know what we've already provided in a room. But I think some of the essentials really are what you're comfortable, what helps you get organized for student life. So like thinking about like what do you need for school, your bedding, your pillows, and something for the internet, so a router or an Ethernet cable, and so some practical things. And so we do have a packing list on our site, and so I would encourage folks to take a look at that. And then thinking about some of those bigger things that you might like want already in the room, like a fridge or linens. We do partner with Campus Linens and Coldex that provide rentals or to the option to purchase things so they're already there in your room when you get there. And so I'd encourage you to look at our website to see your packing list. But I think things to help you get organized, and it's the small things you often forget.
Thank you so much, Parm. That was super helpful. The second question I'm seeing a lot of is maybe a bit of confusion around the TAMs. So the question is, if I don't use all of my TAMs, can I use them next year or get those TAMs refunded? And take it away, Teresa.
Yeah, so TAMs are not refundable, and you cannot transfer them to the next year. And the reason is because, again, those TAMs are a meal equivalency. They're not extra meals that are included as part of the meal plan. So you have the limit of 175 for the year, and once you use up those meals, you have used them all up. And yes, they don't transfer over to the next year.
Okay, thank you so much, Teresa. And if we didn't get to answer your question just because we're a little bit short on time, I encourage you to use all of those resources that are linked in the slide and get in touch with someone that can help answer your question. Next slide, please. So I just wanted, before we go, to remind everyone that we're going to be having a move-in webinar. If you have any questions about residents move-in, which I've been seeing a few of in the Q&A box, make sure to register for and attend our residents move-in webinar on August 13th at 7 p.m. During that webinar, the whole process of how you're going to be moving in is going to be outlined. And yeah, please check out that QR code or visit our website and register for that. Next slide, please. So we still have a few upcoming virtual events this summer that will help you get prepared and feeling confident for first year. If you're someone that identifies as a first generation student, meaning that you're the first in your family to go to university, we've got a webinar for you tomorrow. Would highly recommend attending that. Super valuable information. We'll be having our SOAR send off. If you've been participating in our virtual orientation, this is a great webinar to kind of let you know some next steps in terms of support for next year. And if you've got any questions at all about orientation, we'll be having our fall orientation webinar on August 6th, so make sure to register for that, as well as the Residents Move-In webinar. And yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much to everyone for attending. Thank you again to our presenters, Parm and Teresa, for all the hard work they put in today creating those presentations for you, as well as to everyone on the back end for working so hard to answer our questions in the Q&A box. We really hope that you have a great night and that we'll see you soon at our other events. Take care, everyone.